Famous individuals are constantly in the limelight, yet when they encounter disrespect, they retaliate in unforgettable ways. In March 2014, Chelsea Handler was a guest on Piers Morgan Live, anticipating a typical interview. However, Piers, known for his contentious opinions and frequently patronizing attitude, appeared more focused on his phone than genuinely interacting with her. Handler, not one to overlook arrogance, confronted him in front of the live audience. "Piers, you can't even pay attention for 60 seconds. You're a terrible interviewer," she fired back at him.
This is your show. You have to pay attention to the guests that you invited on your show.
They're interesting enough.
Yeah, they are. Listen, it doesn't matter how interesting I am. You signed up for this job.
Of course it does.
The audience in the studio reacted in surprise. Piers, taken by surprise, tried to brush it off with a grin, but Handler wasn't falling for it. Rather than retreating, she pressed forward, arching an eyebrow before unleashing the decisive blow. "This is your job. Maybe if you paid attention, you'd learn something." Morgan chuckled uncomfortably, yet the harm was already caused. The video went viral, with admirers celebrating Handler's clever humor and bold demeanor. For Chelsea, it wasn't only about defending herself, it was a civic duty, revealing complacent journalism in the most harsh manner possible. That instant solidified her standing as a person who won't accept condescension, particularly from a host who ought to have understood more. Joan Rivers, the reigning monarch of fearless comedy, was advocating for Diary of a Mad Diva during her interview with CNN. However, what was meant to be a standard promotional appearance swiftly transformed into a clash of intelligence and resistance. The journalist, adopting a moral superiority, challenged Joan's scathing fashion commentary, implying that her wit was both offensive and out of touch. Major error. Joan, always ready to engage in a confrontation, leaned forward with her trademark sharp humor. "Oh, please, it's called a joke. You know what comedians do?" she retorted, rolling her eyes. However, the reporter continued to insist, emphasizing that Joan's remarks were damaging. That's when Rivers made the final mic drop. "Are you wearing leather shoes? Then shut up." The insincerity lingered in the atmosphere like a poor fashion decision at the Met Gala. With that one line, Rivers destroyed the debate, reminding all that comedy knows no limits, and nor did she. Russell Brand entered MSNBC's Morning Joe anticipating a typical promotional discussion for his Messiah Complex tour. Rather, he encountered condescension right from the beginning. The hosts confessed their lack of knowledge about him and then mockingly imitated his accent, talking about him in the third person as though he wasn't present right there with them. Brand, undeterred, leaned in and sliced through the nonsense with a sharp comment. "You're talking about me as if I'm not here." The atmosphere in the room changed. As the hosts attempted to take back control with additional playful comments, Brand quickly reversed the situation. "Is this what you do?" he joked, pointing at their clumsy efforts at conversation. While they struggled to catch up, he seized control of the segment, teasingly ridiculing their media training while staying calm. By the conclusion of the interview, it was evident that Brand had not only justified his actions, he revealed their unprofessionalism, demonstrating why he was the most intelligent and eloquent individual present. New York Fashion Week is a showcase of opulence, flashing lights, top designers, and A-list stars attired to dazzle. However, what about Jim Carrey? He had no desire to participate. When a reporter from E! News enthusiastically approached him, anticipating the typical exchange about fashion and glamour, she received something completely unexpected. "There's no meaning to any of this. We don't matter," Carrey asserted, his face revealing nothing. The reporter, clearly taken aback, tried to salvage the dialogue, clutching at any familiar topic of discussion. "But you're here, celebrating icons," she remarked, attempting to change his focus. Carrey, undeterred, leaned in a bit and grinned. "I didn't get dressed up for this," he retorted. "I simply aimed to discover the most insignificant event I could participate in." For a brief instant, there was quiet. The dazzling setting of Fashion Week abruptly seemed empty. Fans were left wondering if Carrey was conveying a profound philosophical message or just highlighting the absurdity of everything. Regardless, in a society fixated on celebrity and opulence, he stayed a mystery. Bill Burr, recognized for his sharp humor and bold style in comedy, was on a network morning show to promote F is for Family when the discussion shifted unexpectedly. The host, evidently attempting to provoke Burr into a dispute, challenged his views on religion, suggesting that his jokes were overly severe. Rather than opting for caution, Burr executed his expertise by turning the tables in the most savage yet humorous manner imaginable. With his trademark grin, Burr retorted, "Don't you think the Catholic Church went a little too far?" The presenter appeared truly shocked, struggling to find words as the crowd laughed nervously. Burr, undeterred, persisted in highlighting the hypocrisy of those who are upset by jokes, yet remain silent on actual scandals. The exchange became widely popular, demonstrating once more that Burr is not merely a comedian, but a genius at breaking down nonsense with intellect and unwavering assurance. When it comes to dealing with disrespect, few are more effective. When Jerry Seinfeld consented to an interview with iconic broadcaster Larry King, he anticipated a seamless discussion reminiscing about his record-setting sitcom. Instead, the dialogue took an unexpected twist when King nonchalantly inquired if Seinfeld's show had been called off. Seinfeld, taken entirely by surprise, leaned in with astonishment. "Canceled? Do you know who I am?" he inquired, his characteristic mix of sarcasm and annoyance sharpening each word. The atmosphere in the studio became heavy with uncomfortable tension. King, attempting to retract his statement, clarified that he was merely seeking clarification, but Seinfeld was not letting it go. Seinfeld went on, "I was the #1 show on television, Larry. Do you have any idea how that works?" His puzzled look and quick humor transformed what might have been a small mistake into one of the most memorable viral TV moments in interview history. King, embarrassed, chuckled it away. But the internet never forgot. This was quintessential Seinfeld seamlessly transforming an instance of supposed disrespect into comedic brilliance, while solidifying his unassailable legacy in showbiz. During the promotion of his comedy special, Shane Gillis encountered an awkward moment when the Flagrant podcast hosts made an inappropriate joke likening him to people with Down syndrome, a topic that hits close to home for him due to its impact on his family. For a fleeting instant, the atmosphere in the studio changed. Rather than joining in the laughter or dismissing it, Gillis promptly put a stop to it. His tone shifted, his posture became rigid, and with a strong but composed reply, he signaled that this was not a matter for mockery. "Yeah, we're not doing that," he replied, his tone slicing through the false amusement. The hosts swiftly recognized they had gone too far, hastily attempting to proceed. However, Gillis's response was not solely about establishing limits. It represented a moment of honesty. He demonstrated that although he is a comedian who challenges boundaries, there are certain lines that must never be crossed. His reply garnered him great admiration, demonstrating that humor should never be made at the cost of those unable to stand up for themselves. The Oscars after-party was an evening filled with sparkle, elegance, and upscale style, with Tiffany Haddish exuding poise in a stunning Dolce & Gabbana dress. However, when a Vanity Fair journalist engaged her with what appeared to be a light comment, the situation shifted. "So, did you do a little costume change tonight?" the reporter inquired, suggesting that Haddish had changed outfits like an actor in a theatrical performance. Haddish, always quick to address a slight, promptly set the record straight. "I'm not wearing a costume. I paid for this custom Dolce & Gabbana gown. It's called an evening gown, darling. This is what wealth looks like."
I'm not wearing a costume. I'm wearing Dolce & Gabbana.
The journalist struggled to find the right words, yet the harm was already done. Haddish transformed a subtle remark into a moment of empowerment. She wasn't merely in a gown, she was conveying a message. With poise, assurance, and a reminder of her hard-earned success, Haddish gracefully silenced the disrespect like a queen aware of her value. Conor McGregor, the unrivaled champion of combat sports and opulence, has created a dynasty through his supremacy both within and beyond the ring. In handling disrespectful interviewers, McGregor doesn't simply dismiss them. He annihilates them with his sharp humor and unwavering self-assurance. Consider his notorious 2016 interaction with a reporter who had the audacity to challenge his abilities prior to his UFC 205 match. McGregor leaned closer, grinned, and retorted, "Who the fucking is that guy?" The phrase quickly became iconic, showcasing his talent for transforming the most mundane occasions into genuine amusement. Next came the 2018 Brooklyn press event for his match against Khabib Nurmagomedov. When a journalist inquired if he felt intimidated, McGregor, dressed in a tailored Gucci mink coat, took a sip of his whiskey and chuckled. "Intimidated? I run this game." Whether he's quieting skeptics, showcasing his billionaire lifestyle, or unleashing memorable verbal blows, McGregor's style of unapologetic dominance guarantees he stays one of the most captivating figures in sports history. Madonna, an icon who has been in the limelight for years, has perfected the skill of indifference. When she guest-starred on The Graham Norton Show, she showcased one of her most effortlessly sharp moments, demonstrating that even Hollywood royalty is not shielded from her keen humor. In the discussion, Norton brought to Madonna's attention that she had previously encountered the renowned Sir Ian McKellen at a notable charity function. Anticipating a fond memory, or at least courteous recognition, Norton received a wholly apathetic reply. "Oh, was it fun?" Madonna responded, hardly glancing up, her voice as indifferent as if she were talking about the forecast. McKellen, a well-known actor in his own right, was clearly surprised but managed to chuckle it off. The crowd laughed, yet the moment was clear. Madonna had seamlessly brushed off a past encounter as if it had never taken place. It was the pinnacle of Madonna, aloof, unconcerned, and radiating a sense of superiority that is exclusive to genuine stardom. From heated interviews to sharp comebacks, these instances demonstrate that in matters of respect, celebrities establish the standards. With power, opulence, and an unwavering need for respect, they show the world why they hold the foremost position. Which celebrity cancellation was your favorite? Share your thoughts in the comments.